Hello and welcome to episode 89 of the Pixel Street Podcast. That's right, I'm back. I'm not dead.
Woo!
I know a lot of people thought I was dead. I'm not dead. I'm alive. Very much so. And that is either a good or bad thing, depending on how you care for me. But yeah, we are back. At least I am. For episode 89. This is the podcast where we talk about one of the things we love most, and that is video games. As always, I am joined by... I'm trying to think of something. The Chicago Huntsman's number one stan, Connor Kopp.
It's true. You know, I love a Scumpy, so it's my thing. I'm gonna get it tattooed on my chest.
We were actually just talking before we were recording about the Chicago Huntsman home. I think they're calling it like their homecoming event.
Yeah, it's their only game of the season or series or whatever it is right now that's on their home turf. So yeah, I guess homecoming would be appropriate.
Where's the venue here? Let me see. I'm looking right now.
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Saturday, April 4th and Sunday, April 5th. Oh, Wintrust Arena, right on. I've been there a bunch of times. It's like a brand new arena.
Sweet.
It's right across the street from McCormick Place.
They're starting off their season super, super hot. They're 2-0 right now. There's a whole big rivalry thing with them and Optic because it's a bunch of the old Optic guys are now on Huntsman after the whole shakeup and everything, and it's a whole thing. But they stomped Optic, which is considered to be like the other best team in Call of Duty esports right now, and man, it was disgusting. They got their butts kicked.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter. I think it's so cool how like cities have esports teams now. But I saw on Twitter that the Minnesota team, like if you went to Target in downtown Minnesota, or Minneapolis, sorry, you could actually buy like Call of Duty esports like T-shirts for their team. I don't know their team.
No kidding. So they're putting in like brick and mortar stores now?
Yeah, like it was just inside of a Target. They had like a whole... it's not really a kiosk, but it's like, you know, one of those cardboard setups like in the middle of the aisle?
Like a drop shipper is what I call them, at least.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was.
That's super cool. It's very interesting because this is the first time any like major esports organization has done the whole what do they call it, franchising thing with different cities and stuff, and it seems to be paying off super well.
I mean, Overwatch... I mean,
we're only a couple matches in.
Overwatch does
I guess
it,
Overwatch
it's very selective, I feel like, on the cities.
Yeah.
Because it's more worldwide.
Right, yeah, it's more spread across everything. There's only like, 4 or 5 teams in the U.S., whereas for Call of Duty, it's like all U.S. based. I don't think there's any teams from anywhere else. Might be a London team, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm going to check that event out, though. How much are tickets? Let's click. Let's see.
I think one day is like $50. I think full weekend with VIP is like $250.
Oh my god!
I've been scoping them.
What does VIP get you?
You get some good seats, man. You get to sit down in the pit. You get to like do the meet and greets and stuff, and then you get your regular tickets and whatnot. So I figure if I'm gonna do it, like do it big.
All right, whatever you say, man. Yeah, so it's $70 for the whole weekend for both days.
Oh, that's so good. It's such a good price.
Yeah, I definitely think I'll check it out. But yeah, let's move on. Yeah, feel free to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. We're going to be doing a giveaway there pretty soon, I think.
I think
Connor, you got anything else to say about that?
This week is when we're going to be shooting for that. I'm probably going to put things live. So check out details. We're going to do it exclusively on our Twitter, but I'll probably host some of the details on Facebook as well and give you a little bit of time to get entered in on that. So if you're listening to this, make sure you jump on there, follow the instructions, get those entries in so we can give away some cool stuff.
Yep. And then also check out our Facebook by searching for Pixel Street Podcast. Let's just talk about... Usually this is when we talk about upcoming releases, but there's really nothing. Because everything has been canceled or pushed back, I should say. So yeah, there's really nothing coming out other than Warcraft 3, I guess just came out, right?
Yeah, Reforged. not going super hot.
Really? Why is that?
Warcraft 3, people are not super happy. There's some weird stuff going on with it, and some weird terms and conditions and stuff going on. I pulled the news story, and we can talk about it in a little bit, but it's, yeah, it's not quite what people were expecting or hoping for.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit here. But for now, let's talk about what we're playing. And it appears that Connor is living in the past.
It's true. It's really true. I wasn't sure if I wanted to write it on our doc page because I didn't want people to actually see that I'm playing it because I am sort of ashamed. But at the same time, I'm having fun.
So you're playing Anthem.
Yeah. I'm playing BioWare's Anthem in the year of our Lord 2020. There seems to be leaks every couple days about them planning some kind of 2.0 overhaul or something, and with that kind of pseudo hype coming up, as well as me and my friends just kind of looking for something else to play. Me and one of my buddies, Ethan, we jumped in and we were playing a little bit the other day, and man, I really like the framework of that game. Still, I think that there's a lot of promise in the foundation there. Like, flying around in that game is just so stupid fun.
It's unbelievably fun. Like, the flying around and just the gunplay in it as well. Like,
definitely.
The whole mechanic of everything.
Feels very smooth. It plays very smooth. Sure, you could complain about the overheat mechanics and stuff, which I do think are very limiting. But overall, it's pretty fun. And that being said, like, we jumped in, and of course they've got the in-game store where you can spend real-world money on stuff and buy different cosmetics and whatnot, but they've got a couple seasonal cosmetics up right now, and they're sweet. They make you look like this giant snow minotaur for some of the skins, and it's pretty dope, which is not something that I thought I would say about Anthem anytime soon. So, yeah, we've been messing around with that and just kind of doing the thing, playing some of the little mission stuff they've got going on. I gotta say, I really hope that they're doing some kind of 2.0 something. Not just because I really think BioWare needs to save some face here and earn some goodwill back. But again, I really think there's a cool foundation there, and I would love to bounce back into that game.
Yeah,
and for it to be the next Destiny, really.
It's a fun game if you don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like myself and a lot of others, like they care too much about what they're doing, and in that it just seems pointless. Like you're just doing the same thing over and over again, essentially.
It's true, and I really think it's kind of marred by the fact that it's the problem that all kind of games nowadays have, all AAA releases. It's that they want to be the only game that you play. Yeah. And it just can't be that. Not every game can be the only game that you play. It just doesn't work that way. And I really feel like if Anthem was a clear set focus, like singular story, start to finish, it's got a final end, man, I just can sort of envision what could have been, and it just makes me more bummed out. I'm going to stop playing it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I remember I played the beta like for a few hours, and I kind of saw it for what it was right away. Like, I knew that it was something I was going to enjoy playing through the story and then not play. Just because I kind of got the hint that it wasn't going to have that much content.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much what happens. I played through the story. I played maybe 10, 15 hours after the story. And I just wasn't enjoying myself, so I stopped pretty quickly.
It's just really bare bones. Like, there's not a lot there substance-wise, and what does exist there is just not satisfying. It's made up of the same fetch quests, the same nonsense. It's just not, that part of it's not a good time at all.
Yeah,
so.
But I agree, the gameplay overall is great. Like, the flying around is insanely fun.
Yeah, here's hoping 2.0 is on the way.
Yeah, here's hoping that they make an Iron Man game.
Yeah, there we go. The Iron Man VR game got delayed because BioWare is taking it over, and it's actually just
It's not a VR game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you playing?
I went down a road after my surgery of playing games that John has been telling me to play for the last few months.
I saw that. And
the first one I played was Inside, because I never got around to it. And that game's really cool. It took me like 3 hours to beat, maybe 4 hours. I don't remember, but Yeah, it's I don't know how to explain it. It just gives you a weird feeling throughout the whole game, and that's kind of the same way that Limbo was for me as well. Like it kind of makes you uneasy at parts, and like you kind of have to sneak at times. It's all side scrolling if you don't know what it is. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you've played it.
I haven't played it actually.
Oh, really?
I've seen it a multitude of times, and I think the art's very interesting, but I haven't got around to actually playing it. John keeps bugging me on it as well.
Yeah, it's a Game Pass game, so definitely check it out. But yeah, it's just a pretty simple game to play through. Some minor puzzles. Nothing was too hard. It was pretty straightforward.
So I know you don't have it written here, but I do kind of want to pull your thoughts on it a little bit, especially with you playing Inside. But I know you were kind of dabbling a little bit with Ori and the Blind Forest. Do you want to give the people a little sneak peek on how you feel about that?
So yeah, I think that game is pretty cool. I just kind of gave up on it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just got, because another game that I started playing is really why I stopped playing.
Okay.
Ori. But yeah, Ori's cool. I definitely see myself beating it before the new one comes out. Because that's a pretty short game as well. I think it's like 8 to 10 hours overall. But yeah, I like the gameplay of that. It just, at one point, I thought I broke the game because of a save. Like, I had made a save point and then like kind of trapped myself in a room. So every time I spawned in, I was at that save. But I was able to look up how to retract to a previous save. So luckily they have that built in.
Yeah, it's another one of those games that I've got on my list that I need to get to by the time the second one comes out.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the second one, it's coming day and date to Game Pass, so like
that's true.
You might as well.
Man, Game Pass is so good.
It really is. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense.
So you said you stopped playing Ori then, in favor of something else. What was that? What was that something else?
I started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I had played like 3 hours of it like last fall, I think. And then I kind of just like, I think I gave up on that because of time. Just because I knew I didn't really have the time to just sink into that game. But now that like we don't really have any games coming out or anything, I've been playing it a lot. So I got back into it, and I'm like level 21 now, I think. So I'm, and I think what resurged me to play it again is that 2 of my buddies just bought it because it was on sale for like, I think $30 or something, or $22 for like the Ultimate Edition. And so I started playing it again, and just kind of like in party chat with them. And we've just been talking about it, I guess, as we play through. But yeah,
it's really good, and I played a good chunk of it too. But maybe you can kind of elaborate on this now that you're a little further into it. But it's overwhelming, the size and scope of that game. Like it, I don't know that I will ever finish it because of how stupidly big it is.
It's huge, and that's kind of like what I told myself is like, I'm not gonna go through and check everything off the list of things to do. The way I've been playing it is just kind of like, I'll do a main quest, and then if I'm near a side quest, I'll go pick it up, but I'm not like going out of my way to like unveil every hidden part of the map, because the map is massive, and I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's something like 4 times the size of Skyrim's map.
It's nuts. And to be fair, this game does have a lot of water, because there are like you are like the captain of a ship as well. So it like there's a lot of water, but still the map is massive overall. This game also, I think it's a DLC quest that I did, but there's a whole quest line that's just hilarious. So I think that whoever was writing some of these quests are just having fun with it even after the game came out, because it was a DLC quest for sure. But yeah, overall the game's great. I haven't really sunk myself into an RPG like this in a long time, so. And
now,
I don't know.
I'm curious, did you play Origins very much?
Yeah, I beat the story, but I think once I beat the story, I kind of stopped. I was kind of burned out of it. Because I played through the story like in like 2 weeks or so. of that game. But with this one, like I said, I've been doing a lot of side stuff as well, so I'm hoping that that helps. And I have gameplay of Odyssey on the screen here, and the map looks way bigger than I thought it was. Whatever part in the story this guy's at, it looks huge.
And it's absurd.
Now it's intimidating.
Once you hit a specific point in the game, like, it opens up, because a lot of it, looking at the map, it's kind of this chain of islands, and there's sort of an ocean on one side, ocean on the other side, and once you get to the point that you kind of get to that other side, and make it through that landmass, you really realize how big that game world is, and it's absurd. Like, I couldn't believe, like, even the first island that you start out on, I think I was there for like 10 hours or something like that, just doing side quests and stuff, because I was like, oh, I can complete this island. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be a huge chunk of the game. Turns out it's the tiniest chunk of the game ever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the scale of this game is crazy. And it makes me excited for whatever the next one's going to be. I know that people are thinking it's going to be Ragnarok, which will be Vikings or something. And that just sounds awesome to me. So I'm excited for whatever the next one ends up being. Hopefully we get it this fall. Who knows? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's tough to say, because, like, I just looked it up. Odyssey dropped in October of 2018, and they said they were going to an every other year schedule, and so this year would be that year.
Yeah, so
for another one.
Hopefully we get like a new one and not like a remaster of an old one or something.
I can only hope.
But yeah, I got the Ultimate Edition of this game, and it came with, I think, Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster, and I never played that one. The only ones I've beaten are Assassin's Creed 2 and Origins. I never played 4, even though I know a lot of people love that one.
Black Flag is super good.
Yeah. I just really like this new style. Like, I loved Origins, and I think that Odyssey just took it to a completely new level. It's more, I don't know how to explain it. Like, Assassin's Creed 2 was very, like, run stealthily across these roofs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this game's more of do whatever you want, take it however you want. Like, you don't have to be stealth.
It's really an RPG now. Like, it's a full-blown, full-world RPG akin to, like, a Witcher or a Skyrim. It's not like an assassination simulator or a stealth game anymore.
Yeah.
While it does have some of those elements, it's really more like dialogue options and loot systems
and fucking everything in sight.
That is, yeah. Odyssey is a horny fucking video game.
I was playing for like 3 or 4 hours yesterday, and I think I fucked 4 people in this game.
Jesus Christ.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, man, those Greeks, they sure knew how to get it on.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, what else have you been playing?
So I've been dabbling in a couple things. I talked about it a lot last week, so I don't want to continue on it. But I'm still playing Siege quite a bit with the friends. We're just messing around, kind of jumping into unranked and whatnot. And I'm happy to report it's still a good video game. Dabbling in it, but again, I don't think there's too much more to talk about there. The one to talk about, though, is after kind of our failed experiment with Anthem, we've jumped into Division 2. And, man, I forgot how good of a video game Division 2 is. I played all the way up and beat the main story, got to level 30, and then the end game opens up. And my character was sitting in World Tier 5, which is the top tier world tier.
Yeah.
So after you hit like max level, it's all gear score based, and depending on what your gear score is, you're slotted into different world tiers with higher and higher enemies, higher loot, so on and so forth. And I had a character sitting in the top end, so when my friends suggested getting back into it, it was kind of a natural jump back in for me since I was already kind of at the end game. But man, there's still so much to do in that game, and it changes things up. Absolutely, it's a super grind, but it makes it kind of inverts it though. Have you played Division 2?
Yeah.
Are you in end game?
I am in the end game, but I haven't played it in a long time. Like I never did I never even attempted the raid or anything.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're building up to is trying to get to the point where we can play the raid. And so we're grinding through content, trying to get drops and stuff. But The cool thing that I love about Division 2 is it takes all of the story missions and stuff that you played already and changes them to like a totally different enemy faction, flips them on their head. So it's all these areas that you've already played through and progressed through and completed tasks in, but they're totally different now. So there is a little bit of, I guess you could call it asset recycling, but they do such a good job of overhauling it and using different systems and mechanics that it really does feel like a different game towards the end game. And the combat's real good. They've got new specialist classes. The strongholds are super, super solid. Man, that game is just super good. And I wish that I had more time when it originally came out to play more of it, or that other stuff didn't come out around the same time. Because I really do feel like it's one of the best like MMO FPS style games out there right now. I love Destiny. I don't love where Destiny's at right now, but Division 2, man, I feel like is just a real solid experience.
Yeah, I played a lot of it, and me and my friends we were going to get back into it when the raid came out and kind of grind for the gear and stuff to get there. But then it was just way too intimidating, everything we were reading about it, in terms of like, oh, even if you have max gear, you have to be pretty much doing everything perfectly to get through it. Like, you have to have very specific gear for each person and stuff like that, and we just weren't into all that, so we just didn't even attempt to get up there for that.
Yeah, I've heard that it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, and as far as I know, they're not going to make it any easier. Like, they've come out and said that it's not going to get any easier unless there's a big update that, levels everybody's gear score up. But they said, in terms of, like, the type of gear that drops.
I'd heard that they did a lot of optimization not too long ago and changing how different abilities and stuff work and reworking some of the loot system and whatnot, and which I think in turn made it a little bit easier. Because it was much easier to spec your character the way that you wanted to and really get to a better place, either damage-wise or health-wise or whatever your focus wanted to be. But I do remember for a while there, people were saying that the raid was impossible for console players.
Yeah,
because
I remember
couldn't aim
that.
fast enough and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that being, like, in all the news articles I was reading about it, that it was just literally impossible for console, which is
the
weird.
world's first. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. I know that PC went through very, very quickly, and then console was quite a ways behind. I'm taking a look here.
I think it was like a few weeks behind. I thought it took like a week or two for anybody on console to even beat it. And that was probably
team
because
of
of a
PC
patch.
players first cleared the raid when it launched on Thursday. Let's see. Which would have been... 5 days. 6 days. It took them
crazy.
6 days to beat that raid on console after the PC cleared it day one, which is absurd.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, when this game came out, it was buggy as shit for at least a week.
That's true. It was a pretty difficult game in terms of
It's
just
like
paddling.
they would fix one thing, and then it was like they were playing whack-a-mole, and then something else would break.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, no, I'm real excited to kind of grind up to that level. It's an 8-player thing, so I'm probably gonna come knocking on like everybody I know's door to find people to fill a team for this.
So, hey, we need you to grind gear for 12 hours. And then,
So the good thing about it, this is the stupid. Honestly, it's really broken. Don't tell the developers I said this, but it's if you have somebody at the end game level, like I'm almost max gear score. I think I was playing earlier today, and I'm 497, and max is 500. So I'm 3 points away from max at this point. And if you have somebody up there and you're a lower level, you don't have to grind through the world tiers.
it just
which
scales you?
requires you playing stuff. No, you don't get scaled or anything. What I can do, because there's loot sharing in the game, is just take my drops and give them to you.
Oh, okay.
And then boom, you have almost 500 level gear.
All right, let's do it. You got me back in.
Right? It is broken, but at the same token, like, it makes it so easy to get people back into the game and allow your friends to be able to play with you. I honestly kind of wish games like Destiny had loot sharing. So that your friends could experience the cool stuff with you instead of having to grind up or, run through all the hoops and everything. But one of our buddies, he hit level 30 last night, and he's already gear score 470.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because
right,
I just gave him all my gear. So
I'm gonna start. The next time I see you on it, I'll launch it up, and then I'll get back into the swing of things with you guys.
Hey, let's do it, man. I'm playing tonight. Honestly, we're all going to be on again, just kind of messing around, and I'm happy to scum and break the game, really.
Sounds good. All right. So the last game I played was another game on John's list of games for me to play, and that's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I played through the whole game in like 2 or 3 days. But yeah, that game's great. I'm not gonna lie, I started playing it and it scared the shit out of me. Just all the voices talking in the background. I played with a headset on because that's how everybody says to play it. Even the game tells you to play with a headset on. And you just hear voices all around you. It's super, super creepy. And I almost stopped because of how scared I got. It just gave me a weird vibe.
It
like
does
the whole
such
thing,
a good job.
The whole game is pretty scary. Like throughout, like there's a lot of walking and like I guess kind of like lore / backstory that's happening. That kind of lets you find out how you got to where you are and stuff. But when you are in certain moments, it's pretty scary. But
I'm still kind of working my way through it. We talked while you were out. We talked a little bit about it with Chad and Holden. I guess Chad is like a massive fan of the game as well, and he's super stoked. I tell you what, though, after playing enough of Hellblade, did you see their announcement for their next game?
I did not. Somebody told me about it, but I keep forgetting to look it up.
So not to like overshadow what you're talking about, Hellblade's super good, and definitely go play it. But they announced Project Mara, which it's got no release date or anything. It doesn't have any other further details. It's a real short thing, but it's a horror game. And after seeing the stuff that they were able to accomplish in Hellblade,
that's not for me.
Without that being a horror game, like, man, they're gonna pull off some crazy shit.
Yeah, I won't even play a Resident Evil game because I'm that much of a scaredy cat. There's no chance I'm playing whatever this horror game is they're coming out with. Because the graphics on this game are crazy good.
And that's when they were an indie studio.
Yeah, and like it's kind of an older game now. Like it's not, a 2019 game.
Man.
But yeah, overall...
Now they've got all that Microsoft money.
Yeah, overall the game was great. And even the trailer for the new one that's coming out, was it Senua's Revenge or something? What is it?
I think it was Senua's Saga.
Yeah. Even the trailer for the new one is scary. Like, it's just so intense.
It's very twisted and dark, and I love the aesthetic of it. The whole game lends itself to that, and the stuff that they were able to accomplish, especially with an actor who had no acting training whatsoever, like it was just a random person on their staff.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely you should finish Hellblade as well, as Inside.
Yeah, I'm going to get around to it. I'm probably a good halfway through that game right now. Just finding time to play anything right now is so difficult, which is a bummer because now is the time to play stuff because there's nothing coming out.
Yeah, now is for sure the time. But yeah, let's move on to some of the news. You want to take this first one?
Yeah, sure. So this first one comes from Matt Kim at IGN, and the headline reads, "First Atari-themed hotel is coming to Phoenix with more on the way." Atari, the video game brand currently amid a comeback, has announced its latest venture, hotels. The video game company announced that it will begin development on a line of Atari-themed hotels, with the first one to start construction later this year. Atari announced it is partnering with the strategy agency GSD Group and Phoenix, Arizona-based real estate developer True North Studio to begin development on a hotel themed after the video game brand. The plan is to combine a hotel with video game experiences, Atari is promising a unique lodging experience combining the iconic brand with a one-of-kind video game-themed destination. Plans include the latest VR and AR games, as well as state-of-the-art venues and studios to accommodate esports events at select venues. The first hotel location will be in Phoenix, Arizona, while additional hotels are being planned in Las Vegas, Denver, Chicago, Austin, Seattle, San Francisco, and San Jose.
All right, Connor. What the hell is Atari doing?
I have no clue.
It sounds like there's like a community college student running this company.
Yeah, absolutely. This is absurd to me because, one, it doesn't make sense is a business venture. I don't see this working. But Atari just refuses to die.
Exactly. And it's like, how can we make money? Oh, I know. Let's make a new console. All right, Atari VCS, come in this spring. Oh, no, wait. We got to delay it because we don't know what the hell we're doing. I know. Let's make a hat with speakers in the bill. Do you remember that stupid thing?
No.
Oh, my God. I'm going to look it up right now. Atari hat with speakers.
So I didn't even read this story prior to it being pulled for today's show. And like I saw it pop up, but this is dumb. Like
Atari speaker hats. A new listening experience.
Please send that to me. Put it in the Discord so I can see that. But so you mentioned the VCS console, which is the console that they had like crowd backed or whatever, and wanted to. It's essentially a PC, and you can sideload an OS on it, and it's not even that powerful. Like they don't have a ton of developers jumping on board to make games for this thing, and it's really been in some weird like pseudo development hell for a while. And at this point, I don't even think that has a release date, and it was supposed to release like 4 months ago.
Yeah, the only thing I'll give Atari VCS is that it looks cool aesthetically.
Oh yeah. The design is killer. The design looks great, but like
what is it going to do?
Launch this console thing, and then they're going to announce this hotel thing.
Is it basically just a beefed up Raspberry Pi?
It's literally basically a PC with a custom OS on it that has the ability to sideload another OS. So you could literally just buy it, put Windows 10 or something on it,
and play Steam games.
A computer. Yeah, literally. And I guess there's a market for that. Like, don't get me wrong, if I could get one at a decent price, like, that's a pretty cool thing to put under my television, to have a computer there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, why?
Yeah. What's stopping you from just buying, like, a better laptop for the same price? And putting it under your TV?
Or, you know, building a small form factor computer builder or something, and I don't know. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Atari seems to be doing some real weird stuff. Looking at this hat, this is something else.
This is science, man. Science at its finest. I wonder how many of these they sold.
You know, if this is science, I don't believe in it.
We can get the limited edition Atari speaker hat for $99.99. Holiday special pricing.
It's a Blade Runner 2049 speaker hat.
This is so dumb.
Okay. Well, apparently Atari's off the rocker, and they don't have money to launch a console. Their project lead left, that was heading up the Atari VCS production, and he's gone, with claims of not being paid and people on the team saying they weren't paid. But now Atari has money to make hotels with video games. And
I'm not gonna lie. The hotel idea would have been great had they not announced any other products. Like, I think that it would have been fine, and I think the first one should have been in Vegas, not fucking Phoenix, Arizona.
Right, yeah.
Because Vegas is where you go for gimmicky things like this.
There is something to be said of a cool experience like this. It's a very theme parky, like, you know, destination, vacation kind of thing. And I think there's a certain charm to it that, if done right, could have some cool stuff going on for it. The problem is, nobody trusts Atari with fucking anything at this point. I mean, they made a hat with speakers that just fire down in your face. That makes a lot of sense.
I wonder how
They've
loud
got
that
a
is.
console they can't even launch because they just, and now they fucking Atari, man. Can y'all just stop and just like die or sell off the company or
That being said, I will for sure check out the Atari Hotel at some point in my life if it actually
it's
exists.
not gonna happen. There's no way they built this.
You don't think
now.
you think that this was an announcement for them just to get like funding?
Publicity? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next thing instead of talking about Atari for an hour. The next article comes from Alyssa Mercante at Games Radar. The title says Phil Spencer wants Xbox Series X to focus on frame rate over resolution. The Xbox Series X can reach 8K resolution, but Spencer's not focusing on that. Phil Spencer wants Xbox Series X to feel as good as it looks. Speaking with Stiviver, I've never heard of that site. The Xbox head said he'd prefer to play games that have higher frame rates over those with a larger resolution. Even though both of the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are promising 8K resolutions, Spencer has a very clear preference in the battle of pixels over frame rate. The feel of games is definitely something that we want to have more focus on, not just throwing more pixels up on the screen, Spencer says. We've never really tried to limit what developers are trying to do on our platform, whether it's 60 frames per second on Xbox 360 or people going 4K 60 frames per second now on the Xbox One X. So yeah, I guess it's just more insight on kind of what the Series X will be focused on when it does come out. And
this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I don't think there's a reason to push 8K, especially because nobody's gonna have 8K TVs for at least 5 years before people start, you know what I mean, actually investing into a new higher up TV. And to be fair, I doubt that an 8K TV is gonna look that much better than a 4K one.
I think that there's certainly a lot to be said of future-proofing hardware so that people can feel comfortable with the purchase to say, hey, if 8K does become a thing, you have something that can do that.
Yeah.
Without having to wait for the next console or something. But this really just, for me at least, doubles down on the fact that Spencer has nonstop had a focus the past couple years of quality more than anything else, of making sure that the experience that's available on the Xbox is either the best experience that you can have with a console system, or offering something that should have been offered a long time ago. I mean, when you talk about frame rates on PC have been, uncapped for most things, most major games and in indie games, really, for such a long time that when you talk about frame rates on PC, like 30 FPS, 60 FPS, like there's not things that are locked to that. And to have one of the console developers actually talk about frame rate is super nice, because that means we're just starting to follow up and catch up to the PC hardware, which is great because that's what I want to see happen. More options is always good. A focus on quality is good. And Phil Spencer reassuring the public that he's going to focus on what should be done rather than, some bullshit possibility that could happen in the future is just more votes of confidence in his favor from the public.
Yeah, I think if we get to a place where 4K 60 is pretty much a standard for all games, I think I'll be very happy with that. But while we're on the topic, the back of the Xbox Series X leaked last week right after you guys recorded, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I thought we'd bring it up now and just kind of talk about these pictures.
Yeah, so it's some weird pictures, honestly. They look like a hotel floor, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd.
It really
which some
does.
people, there's a conspiracy theory out there. But Phil Spencer was actually in Japan meeting with some developers, and presumably in a hotel, and maybe somebody snuck in and took some pictures of his Xbox, or good old Phil put it out there himself. Either way, yeah, we got pictures of the back of the Xbox One series, Xbox One. God, I'm gonna call it that forever.
The person that leaked it, his Twitter is Doug Drago X. No idea who this guy is, but the thing is, and he posted pictures of the back, and it has like the serial number of the unit on there. So whoever's unit it is probably got in a lot of trouble, possibly fired, depending on who it was. Like, unless if it was Phil Spencer's, they're obviously not going to fire him because he's like the head of Xbox. So
yeah, for sure.
But
looking at these ports, though, I mean, it's not that exciting realistically, but it does confirm some things that we'd heard already.
Yeah.
There's a single HDMI port, so there's no HDMI in sourcing for cable boxes or pass-throughs or anything. Granted, these aren't finalized, so that always could change, but I really don't think they go that route again. 2 USB ports, just regular USB, no USB-C or anything on here. An optical audio port, which is great to see. I know the PS4 Slim skipped out on that, and for people like myself who really care about audio, that's a very important port. An Ethernet port for a wired connection, and then possibly the coolest thing on the back is it uses the exact same power cable that the Xbox One X uses. So no bulky brick, no stupid thing you have to deal with, just a simple cable.
Connor, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I lost you for a minute there. So what is that other port? Sorry, say that again.
So the you've got the power cable on there, which is the exact same power cable. So that separate port is kind of up in the air as to what it could be. I mean, that could just be a dev kit port, to be honest with you, for flashing the memory or something. But also, there was some stories out there of a potential like hot swappable hard drive for these systems, or some kind of memory expansion for the system.
Which, if that was the case, it looks like it would be proprietary, right?
I would assume so, yeah, because there's nothing on the market that would fit a port like that right now as far as like expandable memory. It would probably be some kind of like cartridge based or plug and play sort of concoction that they've come up with, if that is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's pretty cool that we finally got to see the back. I know a lot of people have been speculating what the back would look like, and this is probably what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bummed that they didn't, from the looks of it here, didn't kind of take a few risks and add like a USB-C port. A wish list would have been like a DisplayPort cable, so you could connect with like super high refresh rate monitors, or get better color depth with the DisplayPort cable style. So that's kind of a bummer, but honestly, it's pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it to come out this fall, probably. I'm assuming, right?
It's got to be, what do you say?
November?
November. Yeah, I would say November for sure.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll see more in the next few months here. Like, we're already about to be in February, so I'm sure we're going to know a lot pretty soon. Moving on. You want to take the next one?
Yeah, sure. So this kind of follows up what we were talking about before with the whole Warcraft 3 Reforged launching just recently. And I have a couple stories pulled here, but I'm not going to specifically read from them. I just kind of want to skip over some of these details, because there's some weird stuff going on with that game. So to start off with, they rendered the character animations in the game at 15 frames a second still. So the characters are weird and stuttery, and there seems to be like a large downgrade in quality for this game from the beta that people had played some months ago. I know John was in on that beta, so we'll have to check in with him when he's here next week. But a lot of people are complaining that it looks much worse and plays much worse. But perhaps the most interesting thing here coming out of it is the terms and conditions of the game. They have a new acceptable use policy that contains some fine print that hasn't been present on games before. And this is no doubt in reaction to the success of some games in the recent past. But it pertains specifically to custom games, and it reads, custom games are and shall remain the sole and exclusive property of Blizzard. Without limiting the foregoing, You hereby assign to Blizzard all of your rights, title, and interest in and to all custom games, including but not limited to any copyrights in the content of any custom games. If for any reason you are prevented or restricted from assigning any rights in the custom games to Blizzard, you grant to Blizzard an exclusive, perpetual, worldwide, unconditional, royalty-free, irrevocable license enabling Blizzard to fully exploit the custom games or any component thereof for any purpose and in any manner whatsoever. So some pretty damning legal speak here. And to break it down, really what it pertains to is you look at the success of different custom games recently, like what's the name of it's Auto Chess. Chess, yes. So there's Auto Chess, which is actually a spin-off of Dota, and I'll get to the Dota thing in a second, but Auto Chess started out as a community mod that somebody made, and began this whole like new genre of auto battlers or chess battlers, whatever you want to call them, and the people were profiting off this. They were selling different things, and after everything, they went ahead and they partnered with the company behind Dota, and they're now like co-collaborating while there's two different versions. It's a weird situation, but this really seems to be targeted towards protecting them from anybody profiting off their stuff, but also protecting them from a Dota situation. If you're unfamiliar, Dota obviously famously began as a custom mod back in the day, and you know they took it and kind of turned it into its own game, and some people argue that it's more popular than what it derived of, and obviously the creators made a whole ton of money, and then another company bought the rights to it. But this is just some interesting verbiage. You know, you didn't see things like this before. This wasn't ever in the legal terms, and I wonder what kind of impact this has on the modding or the custom games community, with everybody just being so concerned about what people are doing with custom mods.
I think overall, this is going to hurt because if more companies start going this route, then we're going to lose out on some pretty cool games, I think. Like,
for sure.
Like DayZ was a mod of Arma, and that was huge for a long time on PC. Probably still is to some people, but I think it's kind of died down. I think, isn't PUBG, wasn't that, and that started as a mod in Arma as well?
Yeah, I do believe PUBG was originally, at least the Battle Royale portion, was an Armor mod that Brennan Green was running at the time. And I didn't mention it, so I apologize. I just wanted to add real quick that Dota 2 is a sequel to Dota, which is Defense of the Ancients, which was a community-created mod for Warcraft 3 back in the day. So it specifically looks to be targeting things like that. And like you said, I really do think that this could have a very negative effect on the community and being able to, put your own spin on things. I'm not saying that people should go out there and use copyrighted assets and everything like that, but smaller teams with big ideas don't necessarily have the money or the know-how to build up things from the ground up, but may be able to fiddle with things enough to make it their own. And it's just more copyright nonsense that I don't know that needs to exist, and it's kind of frustrating, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I'm sure we'll see how this plays out in the future. Let's move on to our last topic, and that is just kind of going over the Microsoft earnings call. Is that what this is?
Yeah, so this is some different stats and stuff from the Microsoft earnings call that they just had, I do believe today, actually. So at the time of this recording, which is Wednesday, the 29th. And it's just some hot points from it. I haven't pulled the entire thing here, and it's really more of a glimpse into where Microsoft is sitting with the Xbox brand leading up to the new console. And it may give us a little insight on seeing what their strategy is moving forward. So just reading through the list here, Xbox content and services revenue declined 11% in the second quarter of 2020. So that would be things like their games, their personal IPs that they make, their Xbox Live Gold, things like that, so on and so forth. However, gaming revenue dipped 21% that quarter as well, altogether. So that's a pretty big dip right there for last year. This implies overall gaming sales hit just over 3.34 billion in the holiday Q2. So still large figures. I mean, we're talking about a monolith of a company, but that's a pretty big dip in earnings.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see here. Scrolling through this. Some of this is nonsense and doesn't really have anything worth talking about. Okay, so just to follow that point, assuming gaming revenue of a bit over 3.34 million for Q2 based on the 21% decline, its past 12-month total for last year, the Xbox branding was estimated to have made it 10.3 billion, and that compares to the previous year to down more than $1 billion. So you're looking at about an $11 billion year for 2018, and then down $1 billion this year. Like, that's no chump change. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is. But still, they still made 10 billion.
Yeah, and people talk about there's that infographic going around. I think we've got to post it up on one of our sites, and it shows like console sales and like PlayStation and Wii, DS, everything is eclipsed the Xbox One by a ridiculous amount. But this really shows you that the gaming industry, even at the smallest level, is massive. It's no stranger that PlayStation has an incredibly bigger install base across the entire market. But this is still a lot of money that we're talking about here. There was an interesting one that I saw. Xbox Game Pass subscribers more than doubled this quarter, which is huge. Game Pass is obviously just doing gangbusters for Microsoft, and I expect everybody to adapt to that strategy here before too long. Q2 set a record for Xbox Live monthly active users, implying it's above 64 million, which is the prior record from holiday season last year. Which means that Xbox is experiencing growth in their services department, even though gaming as a whole seems to be down. So, some interesting stuff. I mean, it's very numbers heavy, and I'll probably throw a link to it on our Twitter page if you want to dive more into it. But it really sings the song of a Microsoft who has changed their tune heavily from 2013. I mean, they started with one of the worst starts to a console generation ever. And have been behind the entire way, only to see a massive burst of support at the end of a console cycle, when Sony is really starting to downcline. And if you compare it to where Sony's been sitting, I think Microsoft is really starting to win the hearts of the people a little bit.
Yeah, I think that everything they've been doing is going to make it really interesting to see how the next console generation plays out. In terms of like Xbox Game Pass, that's got a lot of people in, and if they're not in, everybody's interested in it, even if you are a PS4 fan. You can't lie and say that something like that doesn't interest you. So unless Sony comes out with something similar before, I know they have PlayStation Now, but it's not the same. Like, you don't download the games, it's all streaming, it's just not the same. So unless they come out with something similar, and even still, they're not going to be, I don't think Sony's going to be giving out their first-party games for free, technically not for free, but with that service. So yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Xbox's subscription services pay out for them in the long run. I think it's going to end up very well for them, personally, but I am kind of biased towards Xbox.
No, definitely, and I totally agree. Sony just doesn't have any offerings that stack up right now, and I think when you think about the introduction of things like XCloud just on the horizon, there's a number in here specifically on XCloud, which is kind of absurd. If I can find it. Yeah, I'm not able to find it here. I'll keep kind of digging for it, but it's something like there are hundreds of thousands of xCloud users already, even though this program is simply in beta
and it's only on Android as well.
Right. So the iOS ecosystem is not even available, which is arguably the dominant ecosystem. They haven't even tapped that market. If they put some kind of light monetization on this, the amount of money they're going to see returned from this is absurd, because it's all on server farms they already own. It's hardware that's already out there. They're not paying extra money to do this stuff.
I think they already announced, though, that it's going to be included with Game Pass Ultimate as well. XCloud Streaming is.
That's insane. If that's true, I mean, that's,
I'm pretty sure.
Why buy Stadia at that point? When you compare apples to apples, because developers don't have to do any extra work.
Yeah, Project XCloud Streaming tech is coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2020. Microsoft detailed its plans for the future of xCloud today as part of its XO19 presentation in London. The Xbox game streaming tech is already in preview, and that test is getting more than 50 new games for people to try, but Microsoft also revealed that it's going to add streaming as an option for everyone in the Xbox ecosystem. So yeah, I think that it's just included with Game Pass.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. So,
I mean, again, Microsoft is really attacking the services part, and I think it's really getting to the point where Microsoft doesn't care if you buy the Xbox Series X. They just want you in the ecosystem in some way, shape, or form. They want you to be an Xbox gamer somehow, some way. Doesn't matter if it's on a console. You can do it on PC. But yeah. Man, I really think Xbox is about to take off in a big way.
Yeah, the only thing that could make this pot any sweeter is if they somehow made it so you could play your Steam games on Xbox.
I did hear those rumors floating around.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see it happening.
Neither do I, but if it did, that would be insane.
And the thing is, though, I don't see it not happening. I can't definitively say at this time, that would never happen. That's absurd.
I mean, just look at, the past few years. Everybody thought backwards compatibility wasn't possible. And they're like, yeah, we're giving you backwards compatibility. And you're going to be able to play original Xbox games on this thing, too, sometimes. Certain ones,
And then you have Xbox IPs on another major platform, being the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, anything is possible.
It's a weird world we live in. It's a great time to be a gamer, but also the strangest time to be a gamer.
Yep, I agree. And with that, we will end episode 89 of the Pixel Street Podcast. As always, follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. Check out our Facebook by searching for Pixel Street Podcast over there. You can get us on Fridays on your podcast platform of choice, including YouTube. My name is Joel Campos. You can follow me on Twitter at Campos63. Or mixer.com/Campos63. I'm going to try and do some more streaming now that I'm able to actually sit in my desk comfortably for an extended period of time. Connor, where can the people find you?
Good people can find me on Twitter at TheRealBirch. That's Birch like the tree without the I, so BRCH. I'm also on Mixer under BRCH, Birch, again. Come hang out with me. We'd love to have you. John and I try to stream from time to time. I'm playing a lot of Division right now. I think John's wrapping up some footage for one of the sites he's working on, and we're talking about doing some streaming here this week. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, come hang out, follow the page, and don't forget about the giveaway we got coming up. Yeah, giveaways coming up on Twitter, so be sure to follow us ASAP over there. I think we're going to be running that this weekend, you said? Yes, yeah, that's the plan. Cool. We will see you right here next week for episode 90 of the Pixel Street Podcast. Later. See ya.